We're live.
Yay! So I've hired my first person on Upwork.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah, I know. It's like
You
okay, I'm going to use this as my $50 experiment
mm,
and see if I did my job description right and found an okay person, and if this like totally fails and what I get out of it is garbage, then oh well, I'll do better next time.
yeah, that's yeah.
Did you get more applications this time?
Yeah, after I reposted it. So for those listening, I put in an ad on Upwork earlier this week, and after like 2 days, I had zero applications. And so Josh suggested a change in the title, and based on the change in the title, I also changed the description a little bit, and then went and reposted the job and took out a lot of the requests in that I had for skills and
Mm.
the type of feedback the person has had and the number of hours they've done and things like that. And I left all of that as I don't care. And what came back with Josh's suggested title and then all those other changes was a much larger list of potential people.
Yeah.
Larger than zero.
Yeah, and instead of the first one there was like literally one person that
Okay.
Upwork said, oh, this person might be able to do it, but
Oh, okay.
and then the recommended people that I request was huge after that. So like okay, that's probably going to have a much higher likelihood of getting a couple of applications. So I got two applications. One of them a guy out in California, another person in another country. I can't remember which. And I was all set to go with the person in the other country. Their cover letter seemed good, and they were asking for a few dollars less than what I had put my max at. But I read the cover letter for the guy in California, and it fit the needs a little bit better. The person in the other country was basically just saying, I'm a software developer, I've got this great experience, and I don't really need just a software developer. The other
Right.
person, the guy in California, is like, hey, I'm a software developer, but I'm also a writer. I do this kind of writing. I've done these kinds of summaries before. So it was more
Perfect.
targeted and focused, which is what tipped my hand. So he's already got things going. I sent him the transcript and the MP3 file so that he can listen to it, and he says he'll have the summary and links out of the interview for me later today.
And what are you hiring him to do specifically? Like, what's the?
He's taking a transcript of an interview I did and writing a summary to put on the page with the marketing summary, basically. Like in this episode, I interview whoever. We talk about these things,
Oh,
and
okay.
here's all the resources, kind of the show notes, I guess,
Yeah.
but more summary than notes, like paragraph style sentences and things.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, it's weird too. Like, I think there's a few things going on with Upwork. I think Upwork's having problems just in
Yeah,
general with their contractors. Because I've noticed, like, I used to post a job on Upwork, and I would get like 50,000 people apply from the job, and they're all like, "Sir, I am perfect for this job, sir.
right.
Look
Yeah.
at my portfolio, sir." And and you're just like decline, 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 not appropriate for the job, right? So I think they
Yeah.
filtered quality level first of all because
hmm
people were like, I don't want 500 people from Bangladesh who have no experience that work for one agency bidding on
Right.
every single job I post. This is just
Right.
ridiculous, right? So I think that's one of the things that happened. But I also think that real freelancers started. I don't know. I think that with the Oland's merger with Odesk. See one thing that's interesting that happened with Odesk or with Odesk Upwork now is that they push the cost onto the person who hired the freelancer instead of it being on the freelancer, right?
Okay.
Because it used to be that the freelancer, and I think the freelancer still pays some amount, but they just started. They just sent us an email that's like, hey, guess what? It's going to cost you more, and we're not giving you anything. We're just going to charge you more
Yeah.
money. How's that? Is that great?
Yeah.
Oh, but you could choose. You could either pay us $25 a month, or we'll charge you transaction fees that we didn't charge you before. And you may think that you're getting something for this, but you're not. That's what's so awesome about it. We just get more money, and you don't get anything. So they're having to make that choice now. And so that, to me, that says there's something going on there. And like I said, the last couple of jobs that I posted, I posted the one job for like to fix up the podcast list, the developer podcast list, and there was like a few applicants. So I had to repost it because there was no one, and then there's like two. And this is like an easy job. I mean, this is like every single person in Bangladesh should be like, holy crap! Do it, because it's just like reading a damn list and going and researching on the internet. So I don't know.
Yeah, I've had the same experience. I did when I posted a job for someone to help me with that the research for that email marketing tools blog post that I did, and I was expecting to get flooded with applications, and I got just like 2 basically. And it ended up being one of the guys that ended up applying was like amazing, and I've hired him, and I'm actually having him work on stuff for Entreprogrammers now. But
nice.
Yeah, but I was expecting to hire 5 people.
Yeah.
There were only 2 people that even applied. So it seems like lately, it's like within the last month even or so, something has changed. I agree with John.
Yeah.
We'll have to see though, because normally, like you obviously you couldn't do what I normally suggest, Derek, in this case, which is like hire 5 people,
right?
You pay them all to do the same job, and then you've got a guy that if it's a repeatable job, if you're going to looking for someone permanent,
which this is kind of sort of getting me in that direction, because I am planning on doing more of these interviews. I've got the webinar series that I'm doing that I've already started doing, so that there's going to be more work available for the job type that I specifically posted this time. But I've also got a 10-minute YouTube video that I just got done recording, and I was thinking about posting that on Upwork right now, and looking for the person that can really take my YouTube to the next level with all of the right links back and forth to videos, and get it so that the playlist shows only my videos, and just get YouTube working correctly for me. But I'm going to start just by looking for somebody to edit this one YouTube video and send it to me, and I'll probably end up hiring 4 or 5 people to do it and go through that whole process that you guys have talked about before.
One thing you could do, Derek, too, would be since you need, ideally you have somebody with some coding experience. Before you hire somebody from Odesk again, you might want to do an email blast.
True. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Looking for, I have this job, and I'm, it's not going to pay a lot, but you're going to get access to you'll get early access to all the Watch Me Code stuff. Kind of like, I have that. This is part of my deal with Perry is I get a lot of stuff that he charges money for. I get it for free. So you could kind of, that would make it more valuable.
Actually, I've got something that you could send out.
Oh no!
Chapter.
Oh yeah, the intern. Yeah.
I just wrote a chapter in my book on internships, and I was basically laying out how to be a good intern, and should you get paid and all that stuff. But I would it's kind of the same thing. It's like if you're you could educate people that with that kind of material, I think too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. If you're going to do that, I would suggest putting some sort of filter in place. James Clear, he's got James Clear. He's a blogger, and he's got this productivity blog, and he has I think his email list is probably somewhere between 250 and 300,000 now. And so he decided a few months ago that he was going to hire an intern, basically hire an assistant, and he blasted his whole list, and he didn't put any kind of he didn't put any kind of filtering in place. You have to, fill out this long form or something like that. And he got absolutely crushed. And he's like, I saw him post on Twitter 2 months after the email went out. He's like, turns out reviewing 650 resumes takes a long time.
Yeah, you've got it.
Yeah, so you got to put in some kind of I mean, you could
Some
even
kind of gate, I could do
$10 application fee or something.
that's an interesting idea. But I could do like a Google form where I ask for examples of YouTube videos that you've edited and examples of your writing and.
Yeah, just put some kind of barrier in place so it's not like a hit reply kind of thing. So, But yeah, I got a huge kick out of James, poor James.
But, it's funny. The thing to get good at hiring people is really to get good at not hiring people.
Yeah.
And it's funny now being on the other end of it, and it's like now when you realize, like when you've gone to job interviews and stuff, you're like, it seemed like they were looking for just the smallest thing to not hire me. Exactly fucking right.
Yes.
That's exactly what they were doing. That's it. Because that's what an interviewer does. They look for like, I got to find a reason to not hire you. At least a good interviewer. They're looking because they know that the most expensive mistake you make in business is hiring the wrong person. So, like, you're looking for that reason. And that's what you should do when you get that big list of people that come in, is you're like looking for the reason to not hire them. Reject as many people as possible. And if you find someone that you can't reject, now you've got someone you can hire.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting idea. So I might do that. I might put together a little Google form and send that out to my list this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that John and I have been talking about is like not getting too dependent on any one person. So especially with it's I mean, it's bad enough with full-time employees, but
funny you should say that because that's exactly what my YouTube video is about that I just recorded.
Oh, that's
there
cool.
You go.
Yeah, because we've got John hired Rodrigo, and I hired this guy Aaron, who is freaking awesome. And I've got him. We opened up a second job for him on Upwork to do work for Simple Programmer. He's learning Thrive.
Nice.
But so I told him. So when I posted that and invited him to apply for it, I told him about Rodrigo and said we're giving Rodrigo 20 to 30 hours a week on average. And Aaron was so professional. He said, "That's awesome. I wanted to let you know, starting in September, I have another commitment, and I will only be able to take up to 15 hours." It was like, I wanted to kiss his feet. I was so excited he let us know about that.
Right.
So basically I'm going to be looking to clone him relatively soon, try to get somebody else who I'm training who knows how to do a lot of the same stuff. So I'm not completely dependent on one person. And
definitely. So on that subject as well, so I've got a marketing person that I'm starting to work with, which will get some of the work out of my hands in terms of the research and the raw, just nitty-gritty reviewing my own products and writing up some of the features and benefits stuff. He's a guy. His name is Mark. He moved from New Hampshire down to Waco a couple of weeks ago. His parents apparently have a house here in Waco, and he's spending the summer here living rent-free, rebuilding his financial situation, and had been considering taking full-time employment somewhere in a marketing position or even a developer position, because he's a former and still active developer. But I spent Wednesday talking with him for 3 hours, just going through kind of the big, broad overview of all things Watch Me Code and where my current marketing efforts are and what some of my processes are. And really good guy, I think, that's got a lot of similar opinions to what you and I talk about, Josh. He does things a little differently, which is to be expected. Everybody does things a little bit differently and has different ideas of what's going to work the best. But I think I'm hoping it works out really well. We've got a $500 agreement, so he's going to take that $500 and spend maybe 30 or 40 hours on it over the next month to dig into Watch Me Code, to get a broad lay of the land in terms of the customers and the material that's out there, but then to focus in on the RabbitMQ for Developers bundle and start working on the features and benefits and the avatar and helping me set the direction to move forward with rebuilding the sales funnel and the email course to get people into the RabbitMQ for Developers bundle. So hopefully that'll work out well. It would be nice to have somebody that I can rely on long term. Ultimately, he is looking for joint venture stuff. So if this project turns out well, I'll probably bring him on with a small percentage of commission for the RabbitMQ sales as the first bit of joint venture, and then from there look at what we can do for something larger, something closer to what you and John are doing with Simple Programmer.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's stressful at the same time because it's new territory for me. You know,
Yeah.
when I was working for a full-time employer, this kind of collaboration and offloading was easy for me because it was what I did all the time, but I didn't have to find the people. I was given the people.
Mhm.
Here's this person to do this. Here's this person to do that. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Let's work together and go do it. And now I have to find the people and vet the people and figure out how to work with them, and hopefully they're good, and come up with these crazy schemes on how to pay them appropriately. And it's this
also,
whole new world of business.
It's also different when you're dealing with someone who's part-time versus full-time,
Yeah.
because like it's easier to like if someone's full-time, they work for the company. It's like you've got a little bit more of a stick,
Right.
because you could be like, you're fired. Whereas if they're part-time, it's like that's not a big deal. It's this they didn't like buy a house
Yeah.
and get a mortgage on this job, right? It's like you've got a really big stick when it's like, hey, how would you like your kids to eat? You know, it's like, but when you're just a part-time, it's like you've got to, it's the selection criteria is much more important. So
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's what I've been dealing with for the last couple of days, trying to get all the infrastructure set up so that he and I can communicate. I've got a Slack just for my business stuff. So instead of the Watch Me Code Slack, which he's also in that as well, but I've got a Muted Solutions Slack, which is my company name, and so he's the only other person in there right now.
Everything you type in that Slack channel goes nowhere. It's like dev null.
Exactly.
that's good though.
I've got that. I've got a Trello board set up. I've got a Dropbox folder shared with him. He's got access to my Google Drive stuff. So we're moving forward. We're starting to put things together slowly. I think it'll take a week or two for him to get really ramped up and into it, but I'm hoping things move pretty quick once he gets going.
That's good though. I mean, this is where you got to go. Like, this is where business, like, this is because at this point you're, once you get this kind of stuff down, you're able to produce a ton more.
Yeah, exactly.
But this is like the huge growing pain, right? Like with Simple Programmer, when I first started bringing on people, I mean, now we're able to like produce so much stuff.
Right.
So much stuff gets done, way more than I could ever do on my own.
Right.
So.
And I talked with Mark at length about my previous efforts.
Hey,
with
Derek, the cap's not on that pen. No, I'm just
totally. So, that was amazing. Let me,
you're gonna get a tattoo.
It's pretty
like
damn cool.
that one Entreprogrammers episode.
So let me break from what I was about to say and share that story. So last night, my wife and I had a little more than a little bit to drink. We went through a whole bottle of wine between the two of us while we were watching the season finale of season 2 of House of Cards. And afterwards, in my inebriated state, I sat down here at my desk and was reading whatever, and I had an itch on my back, and I knew it was in a spot that I can't reach with my hands. So I
sounds
grabbed
like a penthouse letters, like your penthouse. Okay, go continue now.
So I grabbed.
Or do you want me to play some music, like brown chicken, brown cow?
So I grabbed this pen, like I always do. There's always one of these pens on my desk, and I always grab it by the cap, so that I don't inadvertently draw all over my back while I'm scratching my back. And so
now we're getting into 4chan here.
I'm going at it. I'm scratching my back. I'm scratching my neck. I get done scratching my itch, and I pull my hand back down, and I realize that the cap was on the back of the pen. And I had been scratching my back with the ink end of the pen for the last 5 minutes. So I'm going, oh crap. So I walk across the house, yank my shirt off. Do I have pen all over the back of my neck? My wife starts laughing. What the heck happened? It looks like the kids attacked you with a pen.
It's like, no, actually, we've been doing LSD, and that was a steak knife, dude. It's a red pen.
Yeah. So it's a black pen. So she's my wife is laughing her head off at me. I'm like dying laughing at how stupid that was. And so she grabs a wipe and starts wiping my shoulders off. So that was amazing. So life tip: if you're going to scratch your own back with a pen, make sure the cap is on properly and grab the cap side, not the back side of the pen, scratching with the ink.
Yeah, and definitely don't use a steak knife.
Definitely don't use a steak knife.
It'll feel good at first, but
maybe for a moment. Yes. So, anyways, back to marketing. So I explained at length all of my prior efforts on outsourcing some marketing efforts to Mark, and how most of the work that I had previously had done just kind of went in one ear and out the other, or I had hired people for the wrong reason to do the wrong work, and how I think overall in the end those prior experiences I've had were good for me because they were mistakes. They were, okay, crap, that wasn't worthwhile. What should I have done? And now I've got a better idea of what I should be focusing on. So I think it's going to be easier for me to kind of direct Mark while also listening to his input on the things that we should be doing on. Because we really went all over the board on the Watch Me Code marketing, from the site design and marketing copy on the homepage to the content of the individual screens, to feedback from users, to doing surveys, to doing email courses, to doing, I mean, we covered the large spectrum, and he asked a lot of really good questions and brought up a lot of talking points that all of us have discussed in the past, including bringing up Ryan Dice a lot, and going back to several things that Ryan Dice has talked about and shown, and some of the marketing products that Mark has from Ryan, which segues into another interesting point. Apparently one of my good friends here in Waco went to college with Ryan, and was one of the first people to get the full business suit and tie sales pitch for one of Ryan's early, really sleazy, scammy marketing things. Like, long before he was legit and professional, back in his college days. Nice. He was talking, my friend Corey was talking to him, and Ryan's like, hey, I've got this thing that I would love to talk to you about. It's this little idea that you might be interested in. And Corey's thinking like, oh, yeah, cool, we'll hang out for an hour and talk about this. And Ryan shows up with his business partner, full suit and tie, board with pages to flip, does the whole pitch.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So small world there, but yeah, I think it's going to be another experiment. It's going to be potentially good. I really hope it works out, but I'm also trying to take this from a realistic perspective. There's something seriously wrong with that phone. Also trying to take this from a realistic perspective of it might not work out. I shouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. The work that Josh and I are doing has certainly given me a lot of really good perspective on what needs to be done, on how to do a lot of these things, and I'm trying to take that perspective and combine that with the things that Mark is really good at doing and the things that he thinks need to be done, and kind of funnel it all into a direction for the Watch Me Code marketing efforts.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, if Mark has been through, I'm guessing he's been through Ryan's email marketing program, The Machine.
I think so.
Yeah, that's pretty solid. There's a couple things I don't like about it, but for the most part, it's pretty darn good. And actually, The Machine was part of the inspiration for the Plinko machine that I built.
Oh, nice.
It was like, yeah, it gave me part of the idea for that. So.
Right. So yeah, he's a programmer / marketing person, and
not the other way around.
And not the other way around.
I'm the other way around.
/ programmer.
Yeah, I wrote some JavaScript this past. I think it was.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, it was either last week or this week. Oh my goodness. So I decided that it would be a good idea to merge. So we had 3 different stores in DPD, which John set up because back in the day, it was easier. It was hard to get the tracking working correctly.
Yeah.
For one store if you have multiple products. So we figured all that out now, and we've got it working pretty well. So I was like, well, let's merge them all. And man, this turned out to be yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, yeah, there were just some unexpected things. Like when you can move products between the stores, and like it's just like a transfer. But when you do that, they don't create redirects for the old URLs. So like we've been sending out DPD URLs for the blogging course workbook, which is just $5 workbook, and those were all pointing to the old store.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that changing that URL was going to like instantly invalidate all of those URLs that were floating around out there. So we had people emailing because the links were broken, and then when when you import the products, none of the customer and transaction data comes with them. So that's still in the old store. So I had already deleted the stores, and like so we couldn't get at the data, and we were like, oh man. So we got DPD support, reopened the stores for us. We exported all the data, imported it, and that kind of worked. But now we have duplicate for reasons that like. There seriously has to be a bug on DPD's end because I didn't do anything wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna say that in a lot of cases, but like it was export a spreadsheet, rename the columns, import the spreadsheet, and we got duplicate data. We're off. So now all of our sales data is off by like $50,000 because they duplicated. So I think that just basically. No one ever does what we did, and they have bugs in their process.
Yeah, I was thinking that they like the original programmers that made the DPD stuff. They disappeared. They got sacked, and then it's like now the current developers they're just like make this, just keep it going.
Yeah,
they're like I have no idea what this code does. Like I can't fix this.
Yeah, I kind of imagine that's the same deal. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
So we're working with DPD support to hopefully get that resolved. It's not it's not the end of the world, but it kind of sucks. At first I thought it was just, so it seems like they show you the sales data right on the dashboard when you log in, and I think that they have denormalized some of the data for that display. So when I imported it, like it was all the data is only in DPD once in our store, but because the data was denormalized, it's taking the old data that was already there from the other stores and then layering that on top of the new stuff that I just imported. So, it ended up being way more work than I thought it was going to be. And so I was writing, basically I was writing JavaScript to make all of the drip tracking and Google Analytics tracking tags conditional based on the product. And oh my goodness, that was that. The only way to test it was to like deploy it and wait for someone to make a purchase.
Right.
And it wasn't triggering, so then I'd have to go in. And so what I ended up doing, I ended up like buying the blogging course workbook and refunding it about 20 different times.
Yeah, I do that a lot.
And test it, and it was total pain in the butt, but we finally. Yeah, it was like, well, my first mistake was DPD has all these short codes where you can you can put in like values from your transaction. And I was, for some stupid reason, I was thinking that they made a JavaScript object available on the page after, like, so that you could access this stuff dynamically from your JavaScript. But no, it's like it's a template. It's an HTML template. So my first mistake was like I was using those like JavaScript objects, and it's like, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. So, but yeah, I was happy. I got it all working and pretty much remembered. Didn't have to use any JavaScript to this, so I was good.
That's definitely a good thing.
So yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh, the other big news: we launched the Patreon campaign. In fact, it's still going right now. But we are at let's see, at the current time right now we have $1,093 in pledges. So
very nice.
Not bad. We've almost hit the, like, we definitely did better. I was hoping to hit about $1,000 a month in pledges, with this launch, and the goal for the removal of ads is 2,000. So we're actually more than halfway there.
Nice.
I think we may actually come close to hitting that.
I think we're going to end up between 1,200 and 1,500 for this. Launch. So
by next month or so, we might end up, at the 2,000 mark, or at least in a couple of months. So we should definitely get there. And if we get there, if we're getting $2,000 a month on Patreon, then it definitely makes sense to continue doing it and to make that be the way that YouTube, instead of ads, to remove ads. So we'll see. Pretty cool. We got some sponsorships that, like, I thought everyone was going to go for the $1.
Yeah.
But there's only like 39 people that did the $1. Most people did the $10. There's 50 people that did the 10.
Yeah.
There's actually 15 that did the 20. There's 2 that did the 35. One guy that did the 50, and then one person who did $200 a month.
Wow.
Yep.
So. Yeah,
our average is about, what is it, John? A little bit less than $10 each is the average.
So I'm going to be shipping a lot of signed books.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like what.
Recording a lot of you will record my topic.
Well, there's only the you will record my topic starts at 35. So that's 4 of those per month, I think. So assuming everyone exercises that, but
John's going to be
that's what I thought. For some reason, I thought it was per week. But I see it's per month for those my topics. Still, 4 videos a month on. Let's see. I want you to talk about the differential equations of. I want you to talk about why elephant poop stinks. I want you to talk about.
Have you been hanging out with my kids?
Yeah, I'm not.
I want you to theorize on why. Ray is the son and daughter of these 2 people from the book Lost Stars, and not. Yes, lots of fun opportunity there.
Most of the videos that I do right now, or a lot of them come from questions anyway. So it's like So that'll be interesting.
That'll be 126 people in our Facebook group to start off.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do we have a way to? Do we have email addresses or a way to contact these people? I'm assuming there's like a messaging system in Patreon, right?
Yeah, you can send messages directly through Patreon to your backers.
Okay.
Yeah, you can, and then I need to figure out.
And they have a whole comment system, like system, everything built into it as well.
Yeah, I should be able to go through the pledges and figure out, like. I believe I should be able to get all the email addresses of the people. If not,
we can have
there's
somebody
an option.
go through and like do it manually. I'd like to tag everyone in Drip.
Yeah. The other thing we could potentially do, like, I'm sure that Patreon support, they're pretty good. They would probably just, if they don't have a way to do it through the interface, they probably would be able to do that. And then the other option would be to just like put out so that. Put the onus on them. Like, you gotta have to do something.
Yeah.
Which I've seen that a lot. Like, one of the things that one of the people that I support, they're like, okay, if you pledge this much a month, you'll get a shout out on Twitter. But in order to do that, you got to email me at this address, and so there's putting the work on the person that wants the benefit to email them and say, this is my Twitter name, this is my whatever. So that's a common thing to do.
So it looks like, there's a view all current patrons, and you can do a download as CSV. So should be able to, and you can see what reward level they're at.
Perfect.
And what they pledge. So, and it's divided by reward levels, so that makes it super easy. So we'll be able to figure out.
Great.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah, that way we can. I want to see how many people, because one thing we're not sure is how many people are from the email list and versus YouTube, and kind of gauging how much growth we can expect based on where people are coming from.
I got an interesting. I didn't get much negativity from the Patreon thing. I expected to get a little bit more. Some people. Yeah. But my favorite comment was, I love responding to these comments now. I'm getting good at them on YouTube. Like, I'm hitting like black belt level of respond to negative comment on YouTube.
Nice.
So this guy's like, give this e-beggar $1 to help fund his cheap spray tan and hair dye to cover his grays. Yeah. So my response was, I am feeling so good about my natural tan right now. Thanks, man.
Love it.
So yeah.
Yeah, the email actually, the email that I wrote for to kick this whole thing off was actually a response to, remember our conversation about, we don't have to go back into it, but the response to the over-the-top response John gave to that one commenter that we talked about. Yes. So basically, I basically retold that story. I said, I posted this video, and this guy named Danger King posted this comment, and I tore him to shreds, and I told him to shut the F up, and then my mastermind group took me to the woodshed, and did I go too far? And then I explained why, basically why John reacted the way he did, and how the whole you can't do it thing is the antithesis of what Simple Programmer is about. And I told the story of Mark, Matt, I think his name's Matt, I think, the guy, the archer that has no arms.
Yeah.
And then basically said, if Danger King had his way. So I made Danger King into the
villain.
Throughout this email. I said, if Danger King had his way, Mark never would have, or Matt never would have pursued this. And then I said, your friends and family will do this to you too if you decide to make something of yourself. Yeah. And the way that you combat that is you need to have people around you who are going to support you. Yeah. And we're starting this new community where we'll do that for you. So it was it was fun.
Nice. We got some interesting responses from that. Some people were like, "Oh yeah, you tell them," and then some people were just very violently opposed still to that idea.
That's funny.
And they're like, yeah, I still disagree that you're saying that all it takes is hard work and the right mental mindset to be successful. And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because I understand a lot of people are like, it doesn't take hard work alone to be successful. I know a lot of really hardworking people that never made it. I'm like, yeah, totally agree with that. But my stance, and still, I'm still people will disagree, is hard work plus the right mindset, and that's what it takes. Now, what is the right mindset? That could take you a long time to discover. But with those two things, I've never seen someone not make it. And then someone was still like, so I was like, look, here's the thing. If it depends on how we define. Let's just scrap what you define success and say success is not making money. Success is living up to your potential. Now argue with me that those two things are not what's required. Because if success is living up to your potential and you're working hard and you have the right mindset, But anyway, I also got an email just this morning from a guy that was like, he responded to that and he's like, well, try living your whole life with a Hispanic last name and being rejected from job after job and see. And I thought it was kind of funny because his last name was I think it was Gomez.
And one letter off.
I know. I was like, Dude, did you look at the email address you just typed when you hit reply? Sanmez? It's not Hispanic, but I mean, 90% of people think that my last name is Hispanic.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I mean, this just proves mindset, right? This is just proves mindset. I'm not even going to respond to the guy, but
the mindset thing includes also like being smart about it, right? Because it's very possible to work your butt off for years and years and years doing the wrong things and not get anywhere. And I think that's what
the important factor there is the mindset also includes understanding the conditions that you have no control over. Yeah, your parents were Hispanic. Okay, what's the right mindset to help you, in that situation? What do you need to do to overcome the societal limitations around, having a certain skin color, hair color, last name?
Yeah, right.
What
is the
mindset around that?
It's accepting whatever limitations. Like everybody has limitations that you get dealt.
Right. I mean, the best way to disarm this is to basically disarm this. So let's go. No pun intended, actually, because I'm about to talk about the armless archer. Is to look at his situation and for him to be like, okay, there's two kinds of mindsets that he could have. Yeah. He could have, or there's three really. One of them could be like, oh, I don't have arms, so obviously archery's out. Obviously, I'm kind of screwed in life, and I'm kind of pissed at the world. I'm kind of pissed at God because it's not my fault, and and whatever. Or he could have the mindset of oh, I don't have arms, so we need to pull off everyone else's arms because this is bullshit. You got this arm entitlement. I'm sick of arm entitlement. All you limb people, you feel like you're so entitled. You can go and let your kid get eaten by an alligator because you don't ignore signs because you don't have arms, or because you have arms. I don't know, whatever. You can have the arm entitlement, or he can have the attitude, which he does have, the mindset of, you know what? Reality is I don't have arms. That's going to make it really damn hard to be an archer. Right? It's going to be hard. But if I work 5 times harder than all the other archers who have arms and use my feet, if I really want this, it's going to be a lot harder road, but I could do it. So I'll make that choice and I'll do it. So I mean, it's one of those three mindsets, and the two of the mindsets are totally destructive, and it's not going to get you anywhere because you're banging against reality. Reality is reality. It's a wall. You cannot pass that wall. Whereas the third mindset, combined with hard work, will get you to become the 4th best archer in the world without arms. Right? I mean, that's the only way I could put it. Is like, yeah. Sometimes it sucks and there's a lot of hard work, but if you're willing to look at reality and face it and not try to change I mean not to try to change what you can't change, then you've got a shot. Otherwise you got no shot. You're just a victim. Fine, be a victim then. So
yeah, the other thing that I always come to is that people talk about the privilege of having arms, so to speak, and the reality is that, yeah, I have arms, and I'm going to use them to make my life better.
Yeah. If I had boobs, I would.
Yeah, exactly.
I would totally use
that. That was not where I was going.
I'd be like, yeah, all right. But I mean, you can use whatever you can use, right? I use my charming personality.
Your disarming personality.
That's it.
We all
Same
have
thing.
Privilege. Everybody does. It's just a matter of what you use that privilege for.
Yep.
Right. Figure out what it is and use it.
Find your unfair advantage.
Yeah. Yes.
Focus on that. Don't focus on what you don't have. I mean, we're kind of bumping up against this. I've been looking into for Simple Program. I've been looking into advertising all week, and it's like, good grief, it's frustrating because all of the programmer-related advertising out there is super expensive because you have companies like Hired.com that can afford to spend $6,000 to acquire one freaking customer. Well, we can afford to spend we make $130 per customer right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we just it kind of sucks. But basically, I was looking at buy sell ads is one of the better places to get display advertising, and it was going to cost us $40 to get an email subscriber.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not going to work for us. We can afford to spend about, like, right now our break even to get an email subscriber is probably right around like $7. So.
But we
Yeah,
can flip
but-
that unfair advantage. We can flip it around, and we were talking about the idea is okay. So it's expensive for us to advertise. What does that also mean? It also means that we have an audience that if we acquire in other ways in advertising, we can get a lot of money for advertising for, right? Obviously, because it's the same. Like you can just flip that around, and so that's where we got to get. Once we get our media kit sponsorship, we should be able to. We can then go back to Hired.com and say, hey, look, here's we got a deal for you, a deal and a half.
Yeah, I mean, and even like Facebook clicks and Google clicks are like, Facebook clicks. Every time I've run an experiment has been like $1, and other people in other niches are like, oh yeah, man, I get clicks for like 5 cents or 8 cents. I'm like, oh, you make me sick.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was funny with that. I mean, you get those mixed responses. It's funny too, like even with that Danger King email, there was this one guy that actually sent us a testimonial about how how this kind of thinking in the videos and the program changed his life, and he got this new job and negotiated this job and got this like $15,000 salary raise, and his wife is on disability, and now he's able to like his life has changed, right? Mm-hmm. And then he had like a opposed reaction to that email. Like, man, dang it, dude. Like, I just felt bad, like, because I'm like, you're so close. Like, it's not like that I need everyone to agree with me. It's just that I just want you to have this mindset that's going to make you successful. I don't want you to have this mindset that's going to, so
He laid out all that stuff and then said, and you're completely... Oh, man.
I don't know why, I think he thinks he got lucky to some degree. Yeah. And I'm not saying that
it's
luck.
True. Like you get
what luck is though? Luck is the culmination of hard work and the right mindset.
Yes.
It's after time. Les Brown.
Yeah, Steve Martin has this book, Born Standing Up, which I've read part of it, and he tells a story in there about I can't remember who it was, but some female comic who. She got her big break, but it was because she'd been doing stand-up every night for 3 or 4 years. It might have been like Rosie O'Donnell or something, but yeah, like she'd been doing stand-up every night, and then one day she happened to do it, and like the producer from SNL was in the audience or something, right? And so she got her lucky break. She got discovered. Well, yeah, but and it's the same way. I had a podcast interview this week, and with Dave from Developer on Fire, and he was saying, man, it sounds like everything just lined up for you, and I'm like, no, trust me,
that was deliberate. It was like effort.
Well, yeah, it was like blind alley. Oh, this one's open. It's like the mouse, stumbling his way to the cheese eventually. Like you just have to keep trying stuff.
And he's a great example because he's on the right track, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know who he is, right? Mm-hmm. I've been on his podcast. Like when you say his name, I'm like, oh yeah, I know. I mean, he's doing the right things. Like we're all like he's on that path. Like he's going to hit that because he's constantly at bat. You know that guy. Yes. Like I've seen him interact in the simple programmer community so many times. Like he's constantly at bat. But Les Brown, I was listening to this. You guys familiar with Les Brown?
I know his name. I can't remember.
He's like this. He's this black guy. He's like a motivational speaker, like an old time kind of motivational speaker. Okay. But he said he has this quote.
Like the Zig Ziglar time frame.
Yeah, that time frame. Yeah, really, really, really charismatic motivational speaker, and just friendly guy. And he was talking about. He said, I don't want to miss the quote, but essentially it was this. It was like. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity that never comes than to have an opportunity come that you're not prepared for. Mm-hmm. And that was the whole mindset. It was like, I think he was talking about a story when he was like this radio DJ or like when he was trying to make it into the radio industry. And he was like preparing, like practicing his radio voice and like getting all of it, like doing all this stuff. even though he wasn't going to get the opportunity, because he's like, well, when I get the shot to actually get on the radio, and he got on the radio, one time, like multiple people had to get sick, and they're like, we need someone, and he's like just working it, and they put him on the radio, and he's got his whole like, this is Les Brown bringing you, he's got his jingle, he's got his whole thing, like he's practiced this whole thing, and he's like, and then now he's the permanent DJ because he's like, he was ready, and so it's like that. I mean, that's what it's like. It's like, yeah, that's, and then people call that luck, and yeah, there is a certain amount of that. It's like, but the thing is, in your lifetime, you're gonna have 1,000 opportunities to become a millionaire, like $1 million opportunities. We'll say you're gonna have so many opportunities that you just never recognize because you weren't prepared for them. Mm-hmm. Everyone gets those opportunities. I mean, you don't even know when you're walking down the street. You pass by people that you don't even know, that if you just talk to them, they would be like, that would be your opportunity. And all these people that you don't meet, it's like these opportunities are passing you by all the time. You just don't recognize them, and everyone gets some amount. It's just that the people that are prepared for the opportunities, those are the ones who capitalize on the opportunities, and then they make something of them. So I just don't buy it that people say, oh well, got to get lucky, and this person, the right opportunities came along. It's like, yeah, they did, but they come along for every single person. It's just, are you prepared at that moment to take advantage of the opportunity? And if you're constantly prepared, then eventually, like you said with the stand-up comment, if you're willing to do the work and prepare and be, for 4 years without reaping the benefits, then at sometime you're going to hit. Sometime you're going to hit that home run. So
yeah. Yep. The other angle that I see on that is that, so if I coast and you coast, then different opportunities, maybe better opportunities for one of us or the other are going to come along. But if you're actively putting yourself in that position, that's the other angle, right? Where Les Brown put himself in a position where after so many people got sick, he was the guy they went to.
Yep.
They knew who he was. They they didn't have it. The next better option was out sick, and so he put himself in a position to eventually have that opportunity. And I think a lot of folks, they just think, well, I'm this kind of person, and my life circumstances are these kinds of things, and so these opportunities are never going to come along. And the reality is that if you are going out and putting yourself in a position where those opportunities can happen, like that stand-up comic, right? She was doing stand-up every night, so she was creating a circumstance under which somebody could come in, discover her, and put her on Saturday Night Live.
Exactly. Yeah, it's interesting. I've got a video topic too that's like, I think a lot of people look at problems and they're like, or adversity, and they're like, oh, if I didn't have these problems. And one of the interesting things, as I was running yesterday, that came to me was, so I remember something that Tony Robbins had said at the seminar I was at, and he's like, you don't want to not have problems. You want to have better problems. Like, and he's like, every problem that you conquer, that you solve, it's just going to give you more problems. But there'll be better problems. They're better problems to have. They're harder problems, and you can't get to those harder problems until you deal with the current ones. So you should be thankful for the problems that you have at the adversity, those roadblocks along your way, because once you solve those, then you're ready for the better ones. But you're not. Your life is always going to have problems, but you can see them as opportunities or problems. And I think a lot of people that have that other mindset, they see their problems as problems, not as opportunities. But the people that succeed, they're like, oh, this is an interesting opportunity that I have here, and they realize that that's the only path to the next step is bigger opportunities, bigger problems. So, but that's why mindset is so dang important. Like I don't know. I feel like that's like the critical piece that people don't realize how valuable mindset is. I mean, the whole thing that we do here, this is all about mindset, right? I mean, like, the reason why this mastermind group is so valuable is because it's really easy to fall out of the mindset, to get discouraged, and we're able to encourage each other and keep each other in the mindset. And plus, we're able to see every once in a while one of us hits a home run. Yeah. Right? And we're like, oh yeah, I remember what that's like. It's like,
I want that feeling again, please.
Most of the time, you're on the downside of the roller coaster,
Yes.
banging your head against the wall, and then you're like, oh yeah, if Derek can do it, I can do it. If Josh can do it, if Chuck can do it, and then you see it, and then you get re-inspired. But if you don't have the mindset, you'll just crash and burn quickly, and you'll never recover. So.
Mm-hmm.
Other news on the Simple Programmer side, we are doing a logo redesign on
really?
designs. Sort of a logo revamp. I think it's about time. There's a couple reasons why I wanted to do this. One of them is that, the Simple Programmer logo right now it's okay.
It's pretty good.
But I feel like it's about time for kind of a refresh on the logo.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't print well. Like the problem is there's little spokes that come off, like little circuits that are white, and so no matter what color you try to put on a T-shirt or something, it just doesn't work too well. It's a little bit complicated. So I'm looking for kind of a really simplified logo, refresh it a little bit, and something that can print well, because we're gonna. I'd like to start putting out. In fact, I have to now because I promised at a Patreon level is some merchandise.
Nice.
Because there's no reason to not have the ability for people to buy, especially having the community and stuff, to buy shirts and to be able to give out shirts. And
John, you can totally train your daughter to pack and ship those shirts for you.
That's right.
Actually, you could probably
those expensive drop ship companies. Just get your daughter.
You could totally train her to do your signature too, and then you could just outsource the book thing while you're
there we go.
teach you to fill out customs
Sign your
forms.
name once, have a stamp of it made, and just have your daughter apply stamps all over books.
I've actually thought about doing that with my kids with swag from the shows.
Yeah.
And then having people order shirts, and then they just get a commission on however many they sell or send.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. It's a good way to have sort of an entrepreneurial type of venture for your kids and teach them some work.
Yeah, I'd probably actually just set up another LLC and have them be the owners, and then just do exactly that. I'd contract
I'd really like to
their
see
LLC.
this get audited. And your 8-year-old shows up.
The primary officer in your LLC is 6 years old, and
That'd probably be my wife, but anyway.
But yeah, so that's what we've got. We've got the contest running. I think I made the contents hidden so the designers can't see each other's designs. So I don't think I can. I'll do a poll again, and then you guys can look at it. But I think that would be a good thing to do. I've been waiting to I don't want to do shirts and stuff until we get this logo redesigned.
Yep.
But yeah, it should be fun. I think I did the $800 package or $700 package, getting just tons of designs. So I think this will be worth it.
Cool. Yeah, I'll be curious to see what we come out of it with. I kind of want to do. I've been thinking about. I'll probably wait till after I launch my course, my email course. But I kind of wanted to have a custom Thrive or Genesis theme developed for my site.
Yeah.
I really like. Basically, I want my website to look like Instapaper or Medium, where it's super minimalist and really clean, but has just enough design put into the typography that it really looks sharp.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe doing a 99 Designs campaign would be a good way to I could just do one page was what I was thinking. Have them design one page and then take that and have somebody else extrapolate and build a whole.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, build a whole theme off of it. So I'm not having them because it's expensive to have a WordPress theme developed, and 99 Designs. It's expensive to have somebody do a theme for your whole site, so I could just have them do one page. I was thinking my about page or something like that.
I would start with the type of page that people are going to see most often.
A blog post.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Yeah,
and that's pretty simple.
You can mutate the page to get it good enough for the other page types.
Mm-hmm.
But get that blog post page that people are going to be reading all the time, get that nailed in.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like Andre Chaperone has a style, like all of his sites look the same. He's a autoresponder madness. He's like one of the biggest people in the whole email marketing niche. And I absolutely love his designs, and I'm tempted to just like, kind of borrow heavily from it, but a lot of people would probably recognize it.
Doesn't matter.
Enough people would probably recognize it to where it would be nice to not like look exactly like a direct competitor.
No, it really, truly, honestly doesn't matter, because starting with imitation is the greatest way to learn that style.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe you build your first version and it just totally imitates your stuff, but then you realize, oh, but I actually need this over here, and I need that. I mean, look at my stick figure drawings. Mm-hmm. When I did my very first stick figure drawing, I sat down with XKCD open. No lie, absolute truth. I said, I freaking love XKCD. Mm-hmm. I want to draw stupid stick figures like this, and so I just sat there and copied XKCD.
Yep.
Copied that style until I got the stick figure that I wanted from my post, and then I took off from there. I just kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and over time I developed my own style.
Exactly.
You can look at my stick figures and you can see, oh yeah, that's Derek. You don't see, oh, that's a copy of XKCD anymore.
Yeah, and you see the same thing, like, I went to the Van Gogh Museum. I did a video on this in Amsterdam, and you look at Van Gogh's early stuff, and all he did was just copy, like, other people's, like, because you look at Van Gogh's style, right, and you see the swirls, and you're like, from Starry Night or one of those, and you're like, oh, that's just how Van Gogh paints. The dude was just whacked out of his mind. But that's not how he paints. That's an intentional style that he found, that he specifically like he could paint a realist. He has realism paintings where he's painted a bowl of fruit and it looks like you're like, oh wow, is this a Rembrandt or something? And no, it's Van Gogh copying, right? But then that's how he found his voice, is like he started off copying. And obviously we're preaching to the choir when we're talking to Josh about this, because copy hacks.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, you're exactly right. Yep,
absolutely.
I mean, it's copy hour for design.
Yeah.
Yep.
But the other thing I wanted to do with this too is, so I'm probably going to do another 99 Designs competition for the shirt itself, because here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to make a shirt that says Simple Programmer, right? That's lame, just having your logo on a shirt. To me, what I want to do is like design a shirt that has a cool message, that has the logo built, into it perhaps, or somewhere on it, but the shirt is not about just simple. It has a message, or it has some kind of design or something.
I like that idea.
That's cool. So it's actually cool to wear. It's actually something that you'd want to wear. Because I don't even want to wear a shirt that says Simple Program on it. I mean, I've got shirts. I mean, they're not nice ones, but I would rather have something that's more stylish. So I think that's the way to go. Then the message spreads better, and people actually wear the stuff. So
yeah.
Well, and plus, like, Simple Programmer in and of itself doesn't really mean anything to most people. So.
Oh, look, another random person wearing a random shirt with a random company that I've never heard of. I'm not, whatever.
Exactly. Yeah, but if it's an impactful, or some kind of meaningful message.
Or much more likely, it's Jim and Bob are painting, and they're like, hey, hand me that blue rag over there. What's this logo on that?
Hand me that Simple Programmer rag.
There we go.
Yeah, I think doing what we're doing here, what John's talking about, will avoid that. So.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Speaking of random T-shirts, so there is either an incredible coincidence in Waco, Texas, where somebody here has an interest in tech blogs, or somebody found a shirt that I donated at Goodwill. I was at one of my son's baseball games recently, and there was a kid walking around wearing a changelog T-shirt, and I was like, I wonder. So that was interesting. But
I had a guy that came that I don't know if I think I did post this, but I don't think I talked about it here. But he came to hang my TV, and and he was like, when I opened the door, he was like, "Hey, I know you. I watch your YouTube videos."
Nice.
It's funny. I'm getting a lot of now. Like I'll run, and then I'll get an email after I run, and someone's like, "Hey, my wife was like, that's John Sonmez," and I was like, "No, it's not. But I'll email you anyway just to see." Yeah, that was me. That was me running in my goofy sandals.
Yes. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Honestly, it makes me glad I live in the middle of nowhere. It's like when I go to conferences and people recognize me, it's fun for the first 1 or 2 times, and then it's like, all right, I don't remember anybody's names. I'm starting to get self-conscious. This is nerve-wracking. So it's like, okay, I live in the middle of nowhere, and the people that recognize me are the people that I already know, so that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Oh, so I guess I haven't given you guys an update on the Simple Programmer program.
The what?
You know what I'm talking about. The fitness program. No.
The one where you have to whisper because it's so important.
So I'll actually have to give my stats, but I've been following. I've been sitting around like around between 207 and 210 pounds for the last like 2 weeks, and that has just stayed the same weight for the last 2 weeks. But my body fat, like on the scale, which these scales are, but they're consistent within themselves, has dropped from readings between 10 and 11% to 8 to 9%. So
nice.
I've basically, like, the only way to interpret that is that I've actually gained muscle and lost fat at the same time during this period of time. So, which is pretty awesome. Of course, I am running 40 miles a week, so okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not looking like a marathon runner, like losing muscle. So
yeah, I was gonna say when you start getting into high numbers of running, you start burning muscle in your exercise routines, and you get really skinny.
It depends, though. I think if you're fasted, so you're actually burning, you're in ketosis when you're running, so you're not using, so you're fat adapted to that process. I think then you're not necessarily going to burn up the muscle, and also it's a sort of a balance of how much muscle do you break down versus how much protein synthesis balance, if you're in the negative or the positive. And so what I'm doing on the other days when I'm lifting heavy and then taking in a bunch of carbs, I'm keeping that to the positive. But anyway, so the program looks like this is going to be solid, like the best thing I've ever seen. I've never been able to get as lean as I am now. I mean, I'm pretty much as ripped as I've ever been on this, and so I'm pretty sold, like myself, to sell this. And then I've actually going to come. I was talking to this guy. I just interviewed this guy, Doc Testosterone.
That's a wonderful name.
He's actually a pretty awesome guy. He was he's actually taking up the more so. I mean, I did that one YouTube video on porn and masturbation, and he actually is taking up the flag of like making this a known issue and like helping guys overcome these problems and making it like not a big deal, and like here's he really is like sincerely trying to help people. So it's good, and and he's got some different angles to it, but anyway, when I was talking to him, he's actually a PhD in neuroscience, so which is kind of good because he'll actually give me a nod on my fitness program, especially on the testosterone side, because I went through the protocol with him and he was like, oh yeah, yep, he's like, but he's like, all of this stuff should work. Like you should be able to keep your testosterone up while you are in this extreme, low body fat and cut. But he's like, this is too freaking hard for programmers. He's like, who's your audience? It's a bunch of fat programmers that have never lifted weights in their life or never run. You're going to tell them to run 40 miles and work out 2 hours a day and take like a whole crap load of supplements. And I was like, yeah, that's true. Yeah, like, but this is for the extreme. It's like he's like, yeah, you kind of designed the program for you, for someone who's in your position who's like at 10% body fat and is so tired of being frustrated because they can't get below that and is stuck. And how can you do it? So he's like, you need to have one for programmers. Mm-hmm. So my plan now, I think, is really to
our plan with the hard one is to kill all the programmers in our audience,
Yeah.
which will create all kinds of job opportunities. It'll
Yes.
create a lot of need for Chuck's product.
Selling a book, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
A
So,
whole
I
lot
mean-
of training opportunities for me.
So the basis behind this program I don't want to lose, which is that this is like the most optimal thing. Like I'm taking all the science, everything I've learned from personal experimentation, and all the science that backs it up over the last 20 years, and I've condensed it down and giving you the most effective thing. It's not easy, but you want the most effective results that you're going to get. This is it for building an aesthetic physique, because this is the goal. Like, our goals are very simple. It's not about improving your health. It's about looking better and looking specifically like, aesthetically how you want to look in the shortest time possible. You're willing to work as hard as possible. That's like the goals of the thing, which, most people are like, but most people are like, I mean, it appeals to the vanity metric, which this is why people are not killing themselves in the gym so they can live longer. They're doing it so they can look better, right? I mean, the prime impetus of human civilization is biologically to reproduce. So that's always the underlying context. So anyway, without getting into that, the idea now is really to have two products, and one of them I'm thinking of calling Simply Cut, and then the other one Simply Shredded. So I was thinking,
cool.
I spent 2 Pomodoros during my run. I was like, I could use 2 Pomodori during my run to do this, because I had it on my board and I didn't get it done. I was like, I could just not listen to an audiobook and come up with the plan for the diet program, fitness program. So Simply Cut and Simply Shredded. And what I'm thinking, this is the first time Josh is hearing this.
Yeah, this is all new to me.
So I'm curious to get all of your inputs on this. But what I'd like to do is basically, Simply Cut would be that programmer version of it. It's the same principles. It's just simplified a little bit. Instead of like, you're not running 40 miles a week, but you're going to try and hit a 5K. Like, you're going to train up to hit a 5K 3 times a week. Anyone can do that. And it's only 3 times a week. And you're not going to be in the gym for 2 hours like I am 3 times a week. Instead, we're going to aim for an hour, and we're just going to reduce things a little bit. And you're going to get as much benefit, because I've been weight training for 20 years. It takes a little bit more for me to get, like, to be able to push it further.
Yeah.
But if you've
This is starting to sound doable to me.
Right.
Like, John's basically, like, completely dissuaded me from trying his more advanced protocol. I'm like, I'd really like to, but.
And then we're pretty much going to take most of the testosterone stuff out, because it's like, okay, if you're at 20% body fat or higher and you're getting down to 10, you're not going to have a testosterone problem, even if you're cutting. Like, it's only when you get below 10, then you're going to start to see it. So let's get rid of most of the supplements. We'll get you on creatine and a couple of things that might help you, and we're not going to do any of the crazy stuff. But we are going to eat 1 meal a day, because that is sort of the, like, and instead of going 0 carbs on the running days, we're gonna carb cycle. We're not gonna get the maximum benefit, but we're gonna make you more insulin sensitive on the other days. So we'll do carb cycling. You'll just do lower carbs. You'll do veggie, more complex carbs on the run days, and then so I think I can simplify it down to the point where it's like, it's still hard, it's still effective, but it's simple. And a beginner that is willing to work hard can do this and accomplish results. But here's the best part. The way I want to sell this, Josh, is I want to say, I want to sell the simple version, but at the same time, I want to offer an upgrade to the advanced version. And this is what for not a huge amount more. And so you get Simply Cut, and then the idea would be that once you progress through this, then you'll be ready for Simply Shredded. But buy them both now for a couple of reasons. One, because you want to get there, and then you're getting a discount. And then because you may want to incorporate some of the things from Simply Shredded if you're ready for it, if you're ready to take on the challenge into there, because they're essentially the same program. One is just a toned down version. There's some extras and mindset stuff that would be in the Simply Shredded. So then the idea would be we'd be able to sell this kind of lower end product. Maybe it's like $49 for Simply Cut and $99 for Simply Cut plus Simply Shredded. And then we basically have it to our audience, but then we can sell Simply Shredded to the general public, or rather to the specific, segment of the market in the fitness industry that's like at that point where they're at 10% body fat. How the hell do I get lower? I'm having problems as soon as I do. Testosterone drops, because that's a extreme pain point that not everyone is familiar with. But anyway, that's where I'm thinking with the whole thing. What do you guys think about the name, about the idea?
I like it. I'm wondering. I'm not a good test subject though, because I'm probably more aware of fitness stuff in general than your average programmer would be, because I've dabbled in it enough that I know the terminology. Like, to me, like the word cut means something. It might not necessarily mean something to, or mean the same thing to, your average person.
What do you guys think? Do you know what cut and shredded, like, with that?
Yeah, and I'm kind of leaning toward what Josh is thinking. Like, I heard simply cut first, and I immediately thought that was the extreme version.
Well, this is definitely like more extreme than any kind of P90X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is. I'm not going to water it down and be like, this is like easy. It's never going to be easy.
Okay. I mean, in general, I think the idea is good. I think the differentiation between cut versus shredded is kind of what?
Yeah.
So if you could distinguish the names further, get them farther apart. I mean, to go for the over-the-top stupid example, I mean, Simply Cut and Simply Cut Extreme Ultra Shredded Mega Awesome Low Body Edition.
I was thinking about my email that I wrote about the hair gel, like the Mega Hold versus the Ultra Hold versus the Extreme Hold. It's like, what? Like,
yeah, that's.
But
okay, simply ripped out of your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I like the simply theme out of that, but I think you need another word. I mean, it could be Simply Fit.
Yeah.
Although that might seem a little too wimpy. That might be like tone, dude. We're gonna.
How about the Veiny Bastard edition? I want to make you a vain bastard.
A veiny
There's
bastard.
vein in my forehead right here. You can have that. You can have veins on your abs. People are gonna see you walking down the street and they'll be like, "Look at that freak show." His abs have abs.
I love this.
You got a 12-pack.
This is gonna be so much fun.
I've done enough fitness programs too, to where I don't know if I could give you good unbiased feedback or not.
I haven't, and
but I mean,
thought
like,
it was confusing.
Yeah, like I think the average person has probably done at least one or two.
Yeah.
That's why the fitness market is so.
The people that are going to sign up for this are people that have tried things in the past. They know what they're getting into. They know how difficult this is going to be.
Exactly, and that's the plan. It's like, look, it's not to be like, okay, yeah, my doctor says I should get in shape. It's like this. Right. It's like, I'm sick of this shit. I just want to look good. Like, just get like, I don't want any bull. I just like, I don't care if it's hard, as long as I can do it. Like, I will do it. I've been on the yo-yo enough times. I've been frustrated enough times. If you just give me something and you tell me what to do, I'm willing to do it. Just guarantee that this is going to work. And that's
me. That's me. Yeah, I did 60 days of P90X and I quit because I got hurt, sick, and I wasn't seeing any results. So, like, if one of those three things hadn't happened, I probably would have finished it.
Right. Yeah, and that's where this comes in. Is I did
a bodyweight exercise program a year or two ago, and I had to stop doing it because I threw my back out. It took like 4 or 5 months for my back to heal itself. It was awful.
But but I mean that's where this is. This would be almost guaranteed results. So you're going to get results. I mean and I know it because if I've been training. I mean I'm not an untrained subject. I've been training extreme for 20 years, and I'm getting results. So I know that.
Yeah, I will do this non the
non-kill yourself
extreme version of it. Yeah, I'll do this.
So here's the plan too with what I'm going to put into this package. Curious to get your guys' opinion if this is enough too much or the right amount. So the plan is to have a diet program book, and the book would explain like the idea behind it, the mindset, and the science. Like, why are we doing all these things? Because we're doing a lot of weird stuff. Like, why eat one meal a day? Why carb cycle? Why are we weight training in this way? Why are we sipping Gatorade while we're working out? Right? Like all of these kind of bizarre things, to not just say like do this, but to really, and I think this appeals to the programmer audiences, to really analyze this and say, okay, this isn't just bullshit. This is like everything is orchestrated for purpose.
Let me stop you right here. So one thing with my course, like it's very I've been dealing with this too. I'm trying to figure out how the heck to structure this thing. And one thing that's very tempting is to like do all this theory up front.
Yeah.
And I think it's better if you can weave it throughout.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than
give me the thing to do, and as soon as I start seeing the effect, then you tell me why it works.
Yeah. Think about. Go back to 10 steps and like the way that you teach people to learn, and put the program together that in a way that fits that process, versus kind of like the try, do, learn.
Right.
That approach. I would take it from that angle versus like chunking things up by like a book and the videos and stuff like that.
Oh, I see. So like kind of more on the module.
Yeah, build the learning plan that you teach people to create for themselves in 10 steps.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And that's okay. Yeah, I see. Okay. So there'll still be maybe a book, but you wouldn't necessarily go through it in straight order.
Yeah, there will be written material, there will be videos, and we could actually, one way to make this more valuable would be to deliver it over time versus having a straight download, and where you're like walking people through kind of like a P90X type of process.
And you're kind of ramping up to it.
But we have it so that they rather than just dumping everything on them, we're holding their hand more as we go.
I like it. Yep.
And that's what, like with my email course, I'm going to be, I've decided it's going to be a 6-week course, and I will be parceling out information on an as-needed basis versus dumping it on people all at once.
Okay. So then what I'm going to give you then here with the list of stuff, we would take a vertical slice through this.
Yes.
Instead of, because I've got here the diet program book, I've got video explanations of the program and the concept, and then I've got video tutorials of each exercise, a meal prep spreadsheet / tool. So like, you put in your weight and then it tells you, here's what you can eat, a simplified meal planner thing.
Right.
Workout plans. So what should you be lifting or,
the other failure point that people have with these plans is you're asking them to make too many changes at once. So if you can layer this on, like we're going to start with, I don't know, like for a couple days we're working on your diet. We're going to you're going to get that kind of like figured out, and then we're going to start the next thing, and then we're going to start the next thing.
Perfect.
Versus because what everybody does is they're like, okay, well, I have to completely change the way I eat. I have to start doing all this exercise that I wasn't doing before. I have to learn how to do all these
Guaranteed
exercises.
burnout.
Yeah, it's just too much.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Okay. So
you can set it up so that somebody who is already 80% there can just skip ahead. If you're already doing this, already doing that, skip here.
Right.
If you're Derek Bailey sitting on your butt all day long, start at the very beginning and let's go step by step and build the habits so that this becomes something that you can do long term.
Yeah. I mean, just making the switch to 1 meal a day is big, and we might not want to have them running the same week, right?
Right.
I mean, like.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Because I mean, if you're like, I mean, there's days I've been doing it for a long time, and there's days where I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna have a little snack in the afternoon because like I need to get something done, and this is getting in my way, so I need to be sharp. But
the other thing
I can make a little GIF for you for that.
Is that if you give me step 1, which is something that actually gets me results on top of the fact that it gets me some ways down the road, then I'm just going to be okay. So this, this paid off. What about this next thing? What's it going to do for me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay,
And
I
for a
like
lot
that,
of people,
yeah.
probably fat loss will be the fastest thing, the fastest result. So.
Yep.
Right, exactly, which you certainly will experience
Yeah.
with the. Okay, so then what I'll do is I'll take all that stuff and slice it down. So you'll still get this stuff. So I don't know. I mean, we could advertise it either because you essentially need these components. Like there's going to be a book, video explanations, video tutorials of the exercise exercise.
I have a thought. I'm kind of thinking I want to be one of your guinea pigs on this at this point. But my thought is this crossed my mind here, talking about getting people to do things one at a time, taking one step at a time, and building habits. If this were delivered as an e-learning course where I could self-pace,
right,
where you would say you need to spend at least X amount of time mastering this habit before you move on to the next step, and you should not spend more than Y amount of time. So somewhere in between those two periods of time, I come in and say, okay, I am ready for the next step. And I click, I am done with this lesson, and I get the next one, the next piece, and progress myself through it. Instead of just, oh, here's a book with all this, read it cover to cover, and then figure out how to pace it yourself.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Yep. Like guide you through the...
Yeah.
It's interesting, too, because there's two sides of this, which... So like you can build habits, and then those habits become autopilot sort of type of things, like stacking them on top of each other, and then they don't require as much mental exercise.
Right.
Like you can, but sometimes people don't do well with that. Sometimes also, I mean, there's two roads. One is that it's a slower kind of ramping up approach. But a lot of people get left behind, but some people actually like that. And then the other one is drastic changes all at once. So total life changes, like like one of the things, like when people move, right, when they actually physically move, sometimes their life becomes totally different, and they can, if they develop good habits or they start running or exercising, now that's their new. And so sometimes it's good to like have a drastic. So I'm kind of torn. I'm like, I don't know. Is it better to have the jarring, like, okay, your life just changed now, or is it better to have the gradual?
Here's my thought. So I have always thought of myself as someone who would do the drastic changes, but my wife helped me realize this. Like every time I actually do that, I fail.
Yeah, I see. Okay, yeah.
Like it's attractive to me, and I keep wanting to try it, and it never actually works.
Okay.
I do the drastic changes to learn something quickly. Yeah. But it never sticks until I do it slowly. Like, big major change, holy crap, okay, now let's take it one step at a time, because I know what I'm going to get to.
The other thought I have is that what I've heard about as far as like people totally changing their lives, a lot of times what happens is it's a trigger habit. Like they make a change in one area of their life.
Yeah.
And it's not so much that they are changing every area of their life, it's just that one change kind of gets them thinking about it, and they go and change a bunch of other habits, and it's more like it's not like they change 20 things, it's like they change one thing and then another thing and another thing and another thing and another thing. Right. It's sort of like with Dave Ramsey, you hear a lot of times people will call up and they'll be like, oh, I'm debt free, and but my wife and I, between the two of us, we lost 300 pounds, and they have all these other things that happen because they got their finances in order.
Yeah.
And it's kind of more like they get empowered.
Yeah, to get my finances in order, I stopped eating out, and once I stopped eating out, I started doing it, and just this explosion of positive and benefits.
Yep. Or even they just got control in one area of their life, and then they realized that the same kind of thing, without really thinking about it, got them control in another area of life.
So as good examples of kind of both ends, if I could, I really would want to make that kind of dramatic life change, because I know that I know I can do it. If I have somebody there to support me, I know I can do it, and I can push through it and build those habits. The problem that I run into is that I can't make the necessary change through my entire life to support the
Right.
dramatic change in my eating and health,
Mhm.
because I can't just up and move to a new city, a new house, leave my wife and kids behind. I have my life, my needs, my
Right.
situation that has to be maintained to a certain degree,
Right. Right.
and I only have certain things that I can play with.
Right.
Now,
So, yeah.
we're all fortunate. We're independent. We can decide to go to the gym at 10:30 a.m. every day, and nobody cares because we work for ourselves. So we do have a lot of flexibility there. But the vast majority of the people that are going to buy this are going to be 8 to 5 programmers.
Yeah.
True. That's a good point.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I'll definitely do this slower ramp up approach.
Yeah.
And that'll work for the beginner program, because
Yeah.
one of the things I was going to do with the Simply Shredded program, or whatever it ends up, Simply Ripped as Hell, or
Veiny bastard edition.
Veiny Bastard Edition.
I love that name. That has to be worked into the product somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can go on the sales page.
Yes.
Be like, people will be walking by and be like, crikey, look at that veiny bastard. But anyway, so what I was thinking for that one is, it's like, for that one, it's like you're doing this maybe for like 6 weeks or 7 weeks.
Yeah.
You're not living this life. Like, even I am not going to be continuing to, like, well, I might for a while, but like
5 years from now, you're going to be like, yeah, I shouldn't have told you to stop. You're going to keep doing it.
but then you'll go back to the beginner version, because
Yeah.
I mean, I'll probably even, because that's more the maintenance level, right?
Mhm.
But once you get down to 10%, if you want to make the jump to like 8% body fat, you're gonna have to go up to the Veiny Bastard edition, and you're gonna have to do that for like 4 to 6 weeks. But you're not gonna be able to maintain that, because that's just crazy shit. I mean, most people cannot work out 2 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That's just a lot of, So that edition, there you can't ramp up to. You just have to like go balls to the wall and do it. Whereas the other edition, we can ramp you up and then get you there, and then you can go and you can, like, this is where you're flying, this is where you're going to stay there. The idea is that this is actually something you could actually do for the rest of your life. It's not, whereas the Veiny Bastard edition is like, no, this is to achieve a specific goal in a specific amount of time, and it's insane. Like, you're not, this is like training for a triathlon. So, okay. Or train for the Ironman. I can't believe I can't even believe that someone could do an Ironman after after looking into marathon training.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably what this is closer to, is training for an Ironman.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I think this will be good. Thanks for the input. So this will be a better way to go. I'll figure out how to ramp this up in modules, and then get all
One other thing I was going to suggest, when you talked about, crap, I can't remember what thought brought this up. There's another book. There is at least one existing book on fitness for developers that I own, and I can't remember what it's called or who it's published by at the moment.
Yeah.
But there are fitness for developers books out there, so it may be a good idea to see what's out there and get your broad overview of the existing content, so that you can differentiate yourself even further. Because you don't want to be just another, oh, here's all the tools and techniques and data mining that you can do, which is what I found.
Yeah, that was like, it's book. Like, there's like the hacker, kind of like the body hacker people that are interested in just like collecting all kinds of data. And
yeah, I also know Joe Kuttner, who wrote The Healthy Programmer.
Exactly.
That's the one. That's the one that I have, The Healthy Programmer.
Yeah, I interviewed him on Get Up and Code.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not the Healthy Programmer.
Yeah.
This is the unhealthy but freakishly ripped programmer.
The Veiny Bastard Programmer.
Yes.
I love it.
This is the guy that walks into the office Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. after not showing up on Monday, and breaks things before walking out the door angry.
I was actually gonna have 3 editions. I was like putting this on the Trello board, and I was like, the nerd edition, beginner nerd, and then I had the middle edition, which I eliminated, which was the Programmer edition.
Love it.
Yeah.
We can have so much fun with these emails too. This is gonna be fun. We're definitely gonna have fun with this one. This is gonna be.
I want you to make fun of every negative stereotype in programmer culture ever.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'll be serious.
Rip those idiots apart.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and we can directly. I mean, this program is only for guys, at least at this point, because it's targeted based on like male physiology. Like I don't know like enough to like so maybe for successful we can make a female version, but it's so it's targeted around increasing and keeping or raising testosterone levels too. So. Which there is, by the way, a mental aspect too, because when I was talking to Doc Testosterone, he found the studies, the chimp studies. In fact, there's a fish study where a certain fish like changes color when it becomes the alpha male in the group. So it actually goes through an extreme biological change. So there is a mindset aspect to it that would boost which if you're having success, you will actually, as a male, boost testosterone just by the virtue of having success, of achieving goals. So that will, further advance your ability to achieve the goals in the fitness area. So
if I do this, I can get blood work and stuff done too, because I think one of the objections is going to be like the cholesterol.
Right.
Kind of like oh my gosh, you're going to make me eat 80% saturated fat.
Right.
Like that kind of thing. So we can do some blood work on your guinea pigs.
Yeah. Yep. That's a
Send
good
it to Theranos or whatever that.
Okay, so I'll have to see like the timing because what I want to do is before I go to China, because I'm not going to be able to work out 2 hours a day in China. So I want to hit my sort of peak, like maybe like a little bit before then, and then have a professional photographer come out and photograph me, because I've got some before, and my afters should be really good, and then possibly see if I can record the workout videos for the program at that point. And then when I came back from China, I'd be ready to start putting together the real pieces of the program. Or I might even be able to start putting the pieces of the program together before then. So then I would be ready for you guys to guinea pig it if you want to at that point. So be fun.
Sweet.
Totally.
I'm too tired to think about it right now. I just got back from Oklahoma.
Yeah, I do have to preface this with I may have to adjust things based on my situation with my wife, because I've done exercise programs in the past and weight loss programs in the past that have caused serious problems with our marriage, because I tend to become very angry when I dramatically change the way I'm eating.
My Name is Earl, and there's I think his name is Andy. His brother gets like he calls him the Angry Hulk when he gets hungry.
That is very much me.
Derek is a walking Snickers commercial when he's trying to lose weight.
Well, one of the things I want to add to this program that I don't think anyone else adds is like I said, not just on the testosterone boosting, but the mental aspect, especially to the Veiny Bastard edition. Is I want to have a lot of content and videos that talk about like this is hard. This is what you're going to go through. You're going to be depressed. You're going to be irritable. You're going to be like, but
you're going to probably sell your business like I did.
And how to choose, like how to like get through those things as well, because a lot of people don't talk about those pieces, which are like that's a critical.
John froze.
Yeah.
There we go.
Like, there's no friggin' genius way to lose weight. It's like eat less food. That's primarily right. But why can't you do that? Why is that so damn hard? It's because of the mental aspect of it. It's because compliance is difficult, and so
the social aspect and the habit aspect and there's so many different aspects to it.
And so if you can deal with those issues, then I think that makes the success rate higher.
Which is why dumping an ebook on me isn't that helpful. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I need to hear about that.
I want that guided program. Like
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Brennan Dunn the whole time while I'm describing that to you, and the way he does his courses, where you say, "I'm done with this lesson. Give me the next one."
Right. Yeah, I need to hear about how to deal with being cranky on day 3 of my 80% fat, 20% protein.
Yeah.
When I'm like, wanting to rip somebody's head off. Not before.
And you're ripped enough to do it too. That's the scary part.
Exactly.
Because after 3 days, you're going to be the veiny bastard ripping people's heads off.
Well, it's interesting too, because like when I was thinking about this yesterday, I was thinking about too that mental aspect, and I was like, because I was like, oh, should I put recipes in here? And then I realized no, and here's why: is because if you have recipes, like there's all these like low fat or like low carb or whatever it is, like super diet, like have this tasty dessert while you're losing weight, and if your focus is on like how can you cook really tasty food while eating, then your focus is totally wrong, because what you're doing is you're looking forward to this, you're looking forward to the wrong thing. And if your focus is on when can I get a break from this, or when can I get something wonderful, then you're easily going to become discouraged. But if your focus is on the goal and not on how can I achieve the goal with as little pain as possible, right? I think it's just a mindset thing, right? If your mindset is, and I think that's where a lot of compliance issues fail with diets, is that people try to make it like they train your mind onto how can I make this easier, instead of fully from the beginning, this is going to be painful. This is a painful process you're committing to for a specific result, and you shouldn't be trying to avoid any of the pain of it, because that's reality.
A lot of that comes down to marketing, honestly, because it's going to be hard. We're going to hurt our sales with that message. Period. And that's
you're going to do exactly what John does, though. You're going to create the people that are just absolute. It's not going to be maybe. It's going to be yes or no, absolute.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we're gonna weed out all the people who are wishy-washy in the marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's what most people aren't willing to do, because that group of people is a lot smaller.
Right.
So
better to be 100% king of 10% of the market than 10% king of 100% of the market.
Yeah. And you'll get more results, which will result in more referrals, which will, hopefully at least because the end goal should be to get results for people anyway.
Diet programs. The way you sell a diet program is you tell people that they can eat chocolate cake.
Exactly.
Period. I mean, that's how you do it. So.
We're just gonna tell them that you can be a veiny bastard. A bunch of X-rated stuff that I won't say. Like
every time you say veiny bastard, I just keep hearing "you're so vain." Anyway.
So I think that's it. I'm continuing writing on the book. I'm at 30,000 words. So section 1 is done. What about you, Chuck? What is up, Chuck?
What's up, Chuck?
You want a definition or a demonstration?
Up, Chuck.
There we go.
On air, on demand now.
So I pulled in about an hour ago to my house. We drove out to Oklahoma, spent time with family, and then drove back. Got up early in Grand Junction this morning and drove the rest of the way home. And at this point, I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things and, handle whatever I've got to handle. Next week is Ruby Remote Conf. So, and I just found out that one of the speakers backed out, so I've got to fill a spot. And just getting back into all that. So not a whole lot to report other than I'm really tired from driving for 3 days, and I'm also, like, a lot of the burnout that I was facing is kind of just melted away because I just, I listened to podcasts while I was driving back, but, I just spent 3 days. There was pretty much no cell service where we were at.
Nice.
No internet access. So, all of that worked out nicely. Nobody could get a hold of me, and so I I was able to just do whatever I was doing with my family. So got to go shoot skeet, and I got to take the kids out on the jet ski, and got to flip them over on the tube I was pulling behind the jet ski.
Always fun.
Do they skip like rocks when you get them swinging on back there?
Little bit. It was a really small lake.
Okay.
And so when
kind of just spin them in circles the whole time.
Yeah, more or less. And so you create your own waves.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. The way that works.
Okay.
And so what happened was we had the kids sitting on the tube heaviest to lightest. And so when I took them across the waves the wrong way, they flipped over.
Yeah.
Okay.
But otherwise, not as much of an issue. And yeah, just had a good time with the family, and it was a lot of what I really need. So I'm going to get back into it now. I feel like I really have a better just handle on things where, I can kind of wipe the slate clean and go, okay, now what do I need to do? And so, yeah, I'm going to sit down today and basically schedule next week to get the stuff done that I need to get done, and then just start hammering it away. Before I left, I was able to get a page up for the webinars. There are 4 webinars and 2, I don't know what to call them, live coaching sessions where people can, listen in and ask other questions. For that, I don't think I sold very many of those. I got on the Twitter chat for Code Newbie on Wednesday night before we left, and I mentioned it, and Newbie Remote Conf. I'm pretty sure I sold tickets there.
Sweet.
So I'm probably going to be doing that just to kind of gain some. I'm getting a lot of perspective on what people are really dealing with, but I'm also I feel like it's an opportunity for me, because at the end the last question is shout outs about stuff. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to really just focus in on hitting this newbie market and hitting this find a job market. And then after people go through the 10 ways to get noticed and get the sales pitch for the book and the sales pitch for the course, which I need to tack on there, or work into it, I should say. Then what will happen is after a few days, it'll email them and say, by the way, did you know that we do these podcasts? And here are 4 or 5 episodes that you'll probably like that are relevant to you as a new programmer, relevant to you if you're looking for a job. And we can add some of those in, because all the shows have them. And so they'll just periodically get dropped into that Plinko machine.
Nice.
And then I'll create the cross promotion Plinko machine for the shows. But I feel like if I really just focus on this one market, and then I can get these cross-pollination pitch sequences done afterward, where it's, hey, I put out free content, here are a couple of great, episodes for you. Then I feel like I can start getting people so that they're not just, oh, I encountered this and I got a whole bunch of emails, but it's, oh, there's more free stuff, oh, there's more great stuff, oh, I'll go ahead and subscribe to that, and then they actually become audience members, and we can move them out of the stranger into the audience member, and then as I come out with more things, then I can start pitching it to them.
Yep.
That's kind of where I'm looking at right now, and I've sent out a bunch of invoices for sponsors. And I had a really long talk right before I left with, I forget what his name is, Grant or something, I think. But anyway, he has a company where he actually sells podcast advertising. And where he came from was he was the guy that sold the podcast advertisements for twit.tv. And then he kind of moved into selling it for other people and created his own company. He still fills those spots. And anyway, so the way that it works with him, and I think I'm going to switch to this, is he sells the sponsorships per episode. and then he tells them that there's a minimum number that people have to buy. So
Okay.
I'm thinking 5 or 6, and then from there, my plan is, so I'll just open it up, and then people can buy their 6, and then they can pick their dates, and then they just have to get me the materials before the dates, and those dates aren't locked in until they pay. So
Right.
I'll go through the sales cycle with them, and then at the end I'll say, I'm sending you the invoice. If you want those dates, you have to pay me before the dates go live. And I'll just, I'm not going to make exceptions unless I have a really, really solid track record with somebody. But new folks, they're just out of luck because
Right.
they have to pay ahead, and then they'll just be used to paying ahead, and it won't be an issue.
Yeah. So just refresh me real quick. Are you right now? Are they always paying ahead of time? I mean, like in theory.
Yeah, in theory they're paying per quarter.
Okay.
And so I let people renew for this quarter. I let some people renew for next quarter. But I'm going to go ahead and just price them per episode and say this is what it costs for the quarter if you want to renew. And I'm going to give them basically a week to commit to that, and then I'll send them an invoice and say it's got to be paid within a few weeks, because then I'm going to open this up to everybody else. And so quarter 4 will actually be, I'll be selling per episode sponsorships. The other thing that I found, though, is that I had a handful of companies that I had been talking to, and they're like, yeah, your price tag on the quarter is just a little bit higher than our budget. And so when I went back to them and said, hey, I'm looking at switching to per episode, they immediately were interested in buying a package of episodes.
Definitely, if you might, I think you already have this, but definitely have a mailing list. If somebody doesn't come through, you want to be able to send out an email.
Yeah, I already have that. I have that in HighRise.
Okay.
Where I've been managing it.
Yep.
I've been thinking about looking at other CRMs to see if something fits better, but I email about sponsorships infrequently enough to where it wouldn't save me. I'd spend more time evaluating alternatives than just sticking with what I've got. And the time is more important to me than the, what I'm paying for HighRise. So.
Yep.
But yeah, so that's the plan. So I'll email. I'm going to give my current sponsors the opportunity to, to lock in on next quarter. And then I'm just going to open it up, and I'm just going to sell. Sponsorships. Basically, I'm going to open up the next quarter at the beginning of the previous quarter. So Q3 and Q4 will be open now. Q4 and Q1 next year will open up in September. And that way I can just work it that way, and people have plenty of time to get on that wagon. It also gives me time to reach out to my current sponsors and say, I'm about to open up Q1. If you want those spots, you need to grab them now, because I'm basically, you can commit now and I'll hold them for you for a week or two, but then I'm opening it up to everybody, and if you haven't bought them, you're out of luck.
Yeah, that gives you the opportunity to have like a VIP list.
Yeah. Yeah, and so it's previous and current sponsors, and then But Hire.com is just I think they're just gonna wind up buying everything. The other thing that I'm looking at is I'm looking at getting rid of the packages, so the platinum, gold, and everything else. I think I'm just gonna do sponsor, and then I'll just rotate the spots, and I'm really looking at doing mid-rolls. So basically, it'd be this show sponsored by Hire.com, Front End Masters, and whoever else is sponsoring, and that'll just go at the front of the show. Boom, done. Right. And then there'll be a mid-roll spot about a third of the way through, a mid-roll spot about 2/3 of the way through, and a mid-roll spot right before picks. And then I'll just rotate them. And he says that he was saying that they had tried it both ways, and they get way better engagement for their sponsors that way. And so I think I'm going to give that a shot.
Yeah, that eliminates the skip problem, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Because that's what people can totally do that at the beginning of my shows.
Yeah, I never do that at the beginning of your shows.
Well, the other
I don't either, mostly because I don't listen to them.
They go by for John. The commercials go by in about 4.5 seconds before he can get his phone out of his pocket. At 5x, those commercials go really fast.
Yeah, but that's the plan. And then the other thing is that I'll have backups for each of the shows that promote the conferences or the products or whatever else I've got going, and we'll just kind of see where things go from there. But I really think that that's going to work out well, and so I'm probably going to do some under the table deals for Q3 on a episode by episode basis, and just so all my current sponsors that are renewing are just going to renew. And then moving into next quarter, it'll just be, look, this is the price, and I'm just going to go on a straight up CPM.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that way it's okay. Well, looking at the current, the current batch of recent episodes, it looks like we're getting about this many downloads. So that's what you're gonna pay for that many exposures as you buy.
Makes the whole thing a lot more transparent.
Yeah, that's the thing is, then people are looking at it and they're going, okay, so JavaScript Jabber just passed 30,000 downloads per episode on a consistent basis over the last 6 or 7 episodes, not counting the last 1 or 2 that are still, rising. And so, so I can just say, look, here are the episode number counts that we're basing this on. So you're going to pay, I think I'm going to go $45 CPM on 30,000 episodes, or on 30,000 exposures, and then they just know I'm paying for 30,000 exposures.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I have also realized that this is going to lower what it costs for sponsorships on some of the shows that I've had trouble filling, and I think this is part of why.
Oh, I see.
Because they've looked at those numbers and looked at the prices and said, why is the price the same, or why is the price so high relative to the number of exposures we're getting? Because I've published the traffic numbers in the press kit. The other thing is it simplifies the press kit, because the press kit is, here are the 6 episodes we're looking at and the dates they were released, and here are the download numbers for them, and a synopsis of the show and a list of hosts, and then at the end it's just, well, we're going off of 45. I might go as high as 50 CPM. I'm still playing with that. But here's, given these numbers, here's the price for a sponsorship. And it just puts it right there. Here's what you're paying for. Here's the kind of thing we're doing.
Cool.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, this sounds like this will help you to build a system around it too, which is, because once you have a system around it, then it doesn't have to be you doing this, and then you can, you can have someone handle this for you.
Yeah, but the other thing is that, I'm just going to publish the list of sponsors, like which sponsors on which week. So they just pick the dates they want it to come out, and boom, done. And then if somebody wants to pick like every other week for 10 weeks, so that's their 5 episodes, great. And if they want to do all 5 in a row, then great. So anyway, that's kind of where I was when I left, and I'm a little more relaxed about it now, so I think I'm just going to work it out and not stress over it. But, yeah.
I think Derek wants to say his thought for the week because he's got to.
Derek.
I gotta go. So if you guys want to continue talking, that's cool, but I gotta go pick up my kids. So my thought for the week was basically do the things that make you uncomfortable or you'll never grow. And for me right now, that is hiring more people through Upwork, the marketing guy that I talked about earlier, all that good stuff. It's extremely uncomfortable for me right now, but I know when I come out the other end of it, I will be able to do so much more than I'm currently able to do, because I'll be able to focus on the content instead of the production.
Yep.
All right, see you guys. See you next week.
See you, Derek.
Right.
See you, Derek.
Cool,
Yeah,
yeah,
Chuck, we'll definitely need to talk to Chuck. Is that what John was going to say?
Yeah.
We're just starting to talk about the whole sponsorship thing and how our media kit and everything. So.
Yeah, well, the thing is that after talking to him, and I have numbers that actually attract some of the higher end sponsors. Just knowing that this is how they're looking at the market makes a ton of sense to me.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we're putting together our media kit now, so we'll.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can put together like a. I'd kind of like to record the conversation and put it out there for folks. So.
Okay.
Yeah, we could do a separate episode on that or something.
Yeah. We really need to reach out to Hired.com, Josh. I think that's.
Yes.
Once we have something professional to offer them, because I think we've got like our audience would be perfect for them, and it sounds like that's exactly what they want.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
Cool. All right, should we wrap it up then?
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
let's do it.
I have to think about my thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my thought is mostly around just getting some time. Just go somewhere where you turn it all off. I mean, it was nice. It did cross my mind a few times. Oh, gee, I hope everything's okay, but yeah.
I guess mine, I was thinking about this as I was running for like an hour and a half. It's like, you know, I'm eating one meal a day. I'm like working out for 2 hours a day, like all these kind of conditions. But to me, they're good, right? So, like, the reason why is because I've self-subjected myself to these things, right? Like, whereas you might say, like, someone is like, "Oh man, you only get to eat once a day," like, man, because you're poor, or you know what I'm saying, like you could be, like you could be in poverty, you could be in poverty and live the same way that I do, right? But here's the difference: is like in this, just I was just thinking about how much that how you like circumstances that you bring upon yourself that you purposely like accept changes the mindset of the thing. So you could have the same exact set of circumstances in life, but if you willingly accept those circumstances, like or you initiate them yourself, then you can be comfortable in those and be at peace and be happy, and actually this can be a good thing. Whereas if there's something that's subjected on you, if you interpret things that way, which is always up to you to interpret, then it's a miserable existence. So the different, like, it's not the circumstance. I mean, there's variations of this kind of thought, but I was just thinking, like, if you're willingly able to, like, if you're going to have to do some crap anyway, but you volunteer for it instead, you've made the choice. If you make the choice to take on something difficult rather than have it thrust upon you, it's the same thing, but now it's a pleasurable experience, or a tolerable experience, versus one that you feel like, when you feel like you have no control over your life, that's when you're in despair and you feel like crap and all this stuff. It's not the circumstance. So the way to gain control is to take on the responsibility, to volunteer for the thing, to willingly subject yourself to the, quote, bad thing, and then you've changed the context. So now it becomes something that you grow from, that strengthens you, that empowers you, that is uplifting, versus something that is thrust upon you that is beating you down. So that's my thought.
All right. Well, I think mine is going to be along the lines of just not appreciating what you really bring to the table. So yesterday, I had this consult. I had a guy email me about doing a consult about giveaways, which I haven't really done a consult specifically around that. But I was like, okay, well, my hourly rate is $375. So he's like, cool, okay, and he paid me. So I was like, oh, great. I was pretty freaked out, honestly. Like, I was like, I don't see how I'm going to give this guy $375 worth of value in an hour.
Right.
But we did it, and I was able. He was like thrilled with it, and then he's like wanting to schedule another one with me after they do some more planning. So I was pretty shocked by. I was literally like, okay, if we're like 2/3 of the way through this and I'm kind of fumbling around, I'm just gonna offer the guy his money back. I didn't even transfer the money out of my PayPal account because I was like, I just want to be able to hit refund, if he wasn't getting his money's worth. But yeah, so I was able to. I had a lot more I was able to help him with. And this guy was he actually he works with Ramit Sethi on one of his programs. So I think got the impression it's more of like a satellite program, but So he's gonna he could potentially be a contact that gets me into that circle too. But yeah, I mean, like, you have a lot more to offer than you probably realize.
Yep.
And you undervalue yourself more than other people do.
Yeah, just one other thought on that is that, that last thought, you undervalue yourself relative to what other people value you at, and the value that you give is judged by your customer, not by you.
Right.
Yep.
And so if they feel like they got their money's worth, then they got their money's worth.
Yep. And the amount of money that you can charge is largely dependent on how much you can say with a straight face.
Exactly. That's true.
Yeah. I literally, it's great to be in a position where you don't care.
Right.
Because then you don't have to be posing and like trying to get into this big negotiation. It's just kind of like, I don't care, take it or leave it. It's $375. You can PayPal me the money here at this link. If you don't want to do it, I don't care.
Exactly. Yep. Cool. All right, guys. Next week I'm trying to think if there's anything coming up, but I don't think so.
I don't think I'm going to make it next week because I scheduled Ruby Remote Conf over the top of it.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty.
All right. See you guys next time.
See ya.